Hello, fellow viewer. It may be a little odd to see an opossum when you first open a video, but this little guy, his name is George. At the time of this video, I've had George for about 2 months, with his humble beginnings in the basement. He is of course doing well, and he's still alive today. I understand that this may be a lot to throw at you now, but I will gladly answer any questions in the comments and explain in future videos. Ironically though, this video isn't going to be all about George. It's going to be about this guy who will name, Pablo.
Pablo.
Yes, I know. Why do I have an opossum trapped in a cage? I'll try to explain that as quick as possible. So, raccoons are destructive creatures that can break into your house and mess up your attic. While messing up your attic, they will turn your house into theirs and start a family. This can carry on for many raccoon generations, and this leaves your roof damaged and broken, which can be expensive to repair and cause a lot of stress. So what I do is that I set traps for raccoons to prevent this from happening and to prevent people and the raccoons themselves from being harmed. When people catch raccoons, they may be tortured or worse. The method that I use is catch and release. I take the raccoon to a forest and I let them go. Sometimes the bait that I use attracts other animals such as cats and opossums, so that's how they may end up in there. Which is how Pablo got here, who was showing all of his teeth, all 50 of them, to tell us to back off. But George wanted to make a friend. This obviously didn't work out. After the failed attempts, I had to cut to the chase and give him water. It was a pretty hot day, and Pablo must have been in the trap all night.
Is that water I smell?
After pouring the water, I had to do the next step, which is a bit tricky, getting the water in the trap. I attempt to rattle the cage so that I can spook him and hopefully he can run to the other side. But this obviously didn't work, so my other plan, using a trusty dusty stick to shove him gently to the other side. After making Pablo a bit uncomfortable, he was able to move to the other side. This is me struggling to open the door with one hand and holding a phone in the other, and also a stick, but I had to set the camera down in order to put the water in. Please don't attempt to put water in a trap for an opossum. I have done this with multiple opossums that are much bigger than Pablo. Once the water was in, it was time to push the water over to Pablo so that he can drink it. Once again, I'm struggling, but please bear with me. I only have one free arm.
Yeah, water! Yeah.
Of course, Pablo isn't my friend right now. He still sees me as a threat, but he'll take water since he's most likely dehydrated. But with my love for opossums, that didn't stop me from trying to be his friend.
Hey, human, yeah. Do not touch me, filthy human.
After touching Pablo's tail, I kind of ruined the vibe, and he started to give me a stare. I thought he was going to drink some more water, but he looks really upset. Like I said, it was a pretty hot day. I had to give him some water to cool his body off, inside and out. This was George and I at it again. I tried to show him that opossums and humans can be friends, but he wasn't buying it. He went back to showing all of his teeth again, or at least slightly.
Come on, Pablo. We can be friends.
My next step was to move Pablo to a larger place. I didn't want him to stay in a cramped cage the whole time. This is a random bird cage. After a mighty ordeal, Pablo was in, and looking confused as ever. For a little bit, you can see Pablo's ears. The tips are white. George's are white at the time as well, because they're still pretty young. When opossums are mature enough, they will have all black ears. Since Pablo had some water, I wanted to see if he could eat, so I have a plum. Please don't attempt what I'm doing here. Opossums can bite through that. That rubber does not protect you. I've been bitten before and it cut my skin. I had to make Pablo open his mouth slightly, so I decided to touch his side. I guess he didn't like the plum. Pablo had a little hiccup that he did, but other than that, he seemed perfectly fine. This was the weather that day. The high had reached over 100 degrees. You can tell that Pablo is a male because of his obvious parts, but also male opossums will have a yellow stained chest from the gland that they use to attract other females. It might be a little hard to see, but the smell, it has a musky type of odor, and it's pretty strong. I'm not sure why. Maybe the heat got to me, but I decided to let Pablo go. This, of course, is not a good idea. You should release opossums during the night. Some growls from yours truly. Most of the time, opossums are not aggressors. They will attack if you touch or provoke them, or if they just feel attacked. But after I was done messing with Pablo, I thought it was time for George and I to have a snack break. Our choice of snack was the plum that Pablo didn't eat. While we were enjoying ourselves, someone was not. Pablo was still in the same spot, confused. I decided to try to put Pablo back in the cage where he was before, so that he can at least be safe and rest a bit before nightfall. The sun is most likely blinding to Pablo, and this will leave him exposed to predators, and if he tries to walk somewhere, he could possibly walk into the street and get hit by a car. I try to grab Pablo by his scruff, which is a bit of fatty skin behind his neck. It doesn't hurt Pablo, but he didn't want me to pick him up this way. I end up picking him up by his tail and putting him back in the cage so that he can rest. Before going inside, I decide to fill up the water bowls with water so that Pablo can drink something, at least while I'm gone. After a few hours, I decide to check in on Pablo, and it seems that he has fallen asleep. Opossums can sleep up to 18 hours a day if they want to, and they're nocturnal animals, meaning that they will come out at night. But sometimes it varies, and their schedule may get thrown off, so you may see them during the day, but very rarely. He was knocked out cold, so I decided to touch him, but please don't try this, especially with your bare hands. George was also asleep during this time. They both slept peacefully for a few hours. Nightfall has come, and that means Pablo is free to go, but he's still sleeping. Pablo. I had to clear a path so I could take Pablo out safely. Pablo was refusing to come out. I put my finger in his mouth, he bit, and it hurt. So, that wasn't smart of me.
Come on, baby. You gotta come.
During this time, I was trying to get at his tail so that I can possibly pull and take him out, at least gently, not trying to hurt Pablo in any way. This didn't work, so I moved to the next step, which was patting him out until he fell out. Opossums are sturdy creatures. Pablo sustained no injuries due to the fall. At least Pablo was awake, and he now decided to climb a tree. Pablo is moving a lot better than he did during the daytime. He doesn't have the bright sun in his way, and now he's able to go find a safe place to hide, at least for the night. With Pablo being free, this concludes George's first video, but if you'd like to see more videos of George, please stay tuned and notified. This is my first time doing a project like this, but leaving a comment below can let me know which topic about George you'd like to see next. Thank you for watching the video. Until next time, stay safe and well, and God bless you.